All right, guys, welcome back to the show. This is your host, Hunter McWaters. Good to be with you guys again. This week, I get a chance to sit down with Brandon Waddell. So, Brandon is a guy that actually met through, and you hear us talk about it later in the episode, Heather Kelly's Founder Speaker Series, which I think she's going to do a Founder Speaker Series 2.0 in the near future, so be on the lookout for that. But that was a really great event. I met a lot of people through that, and some good things have come through that. So anyway, Brandon is the brain, and I guess, like I said in the episode, kind of the brawn as well behind Mountain Archery Fest. So if you've ever been to one of his events or you've been to a TAC or something similar, it's basically a huge 3D archery shoot that usually takes place, it takes place in the summer, various places across the West. He's working on bringing it out to the East Coast as well, but they're normally at ski resort type locations. So they're in the mountains, and they set up all these really cool just courses with 3D targets, and we get into all that. Mountain Archery Fest is really family oriented and geared towards that scene. And there's kind of, what's the word? There's classifications for all different types of archery and skill levels. So check out Mountain Archery Fest and sign up for one of their events this summer and really hone your skills for bow season. I do want to say there are a couple of, quote unquote bad words on this one. Brandon's a great guy, but I think I edited most of them out, but a few of them might have snuck in. So if you're listening with younger folks, just be aware. Nothing major, but there might be a few little language things in there, but it's pretty minor. But anyway, I just want to give you a heads up. Also, something that I've been open about since the beginning of this project is that, I come from a history of addiction. That's something I struggled with for a long time. I've been clean for a number of years now, but that's part of my story. And, Brandon as well had some rough times in his life. I'll say it that way. We get into that and get into his story, and he's actually done some time. And lived a pretty wild life in his former life, but now he's a family man, a businessman, and a really cool guy. So we do talk about recovery, and I just wanted to take this opportunity to throw it out there. If you or someone that is struggling in silence, or like I said, if you're holding on to that secret and you need help, it's really the first thing you got to do is you got to reach out and ask for help. I mean, a lot of times people struggle with addiction. You get to a point where you can't really do it on your own. You sort of need some help. So I just want to take an opportunity. If there's anyone out there listening right now that needs help, or someone you love needs help, please don't be afraid to reach out to me. You can send me an email, hunter@thehuntersquest.com, or shoot me a message on Instagram. I'm not like a recovery specialist or professional, but I have walked through it before, and I can, hopefully try to help you get some professional help if you need advice about a family member. Don't struggle in silence. Don't be ashamed to reach out. So I just wanted to offer that, and there's all kinds of good resources online and stuff like that too. But, if you're listening to this right now and you just need someone to talk to, I'm here for you. So don't be afraid to reach out. And the verse that I got for this episode that I thought just kind of fit really well is 1 Peter 5:8. Be alert and of sober mind. Your enemy, the devil, prowls around you like a roaring lion looking for someone to devour. Resist him, standing firm in faith, because you know that the family of believers throughout the world is undergoing the same kind of sufferings. So anyway, it's just talking about, as I said before, living ready. And part of living ready is being of sound mind and sober judgment. And so, if you're struggling with addiction, that's, that's not living in a sober mind. So, again, reach out to me if you need, and check out Mountain Archery Fest. If you want to get out, have some fun in the mountain, do some shooting this summer in a family-friendly environment, and test your archery skills. And so, anyway, without anything else, let's just jump into this episode. And remember, if you like what's going on here, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, head over to YouTube, subscribe there. Still got my Kodiak film, which is on the Gritty YouTube channel as well as my own YouTube channel. So I'd love it if you could subscribe. Just search my name, Hunter McWaters. And also, it's really helpful if you can leave me a rating and a review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you're listening. So thanks for your support, guys. And let's jump into this episode with Brandon Waddell. So, yeah, I'm here today with my guest, Brandon Waddell. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good, man. How are you?
Good, man. Can't complain. Getting ready for bear season. Just, and working. You?
I'm not ready for turkey at all. Haven't even started. Just been like crazy, to be honest. I just got home from a whirlwind trip a couple days ago. So.
Oh, yeah. Where were you at?
I went all the way to Pennsylvania and toured a few sites out there, and then came back, and then I was in Denver for a whole week. I visited a couple locations up in the mountains, and I had a Colorado Bowhunters Association banquet, and then the International Sportsman's Expo show. So whirlwind of go for the last 16 days. So
yeah, cool. So I first ran into you. We didn't actually meet, but I did that founder speaker series with Heather, and heard you speak, and felt like that we could talk about some stuff for a while, and then got a chance to finally meet you out at the Western Hunting Expo. And for those listening, Brandon is I guess maybe you'd say the brains or the brawn, maybe both, behind Mountain Archery Fest. And so yeah, man. So what's kind of going on in your world right now? Are you kind of in the thick of getting that planned and scheduled and all that, or what's going on with you?
Well, so, we got our Western stuff all launched for this year. We're in an expansion mode in the next few years. So I've been gallivanting around the country trying to find some new spots. And, and so now that I'm back from doing a lot of that, doing some networking, doing some of those things, now I got to kind of get it all put into play. I got about 8 weeks before we leave. Me, myself, my crew, everybody, to go out to our first event, Memorial Day out in Utah. And so in the next 8 weeks, I hope to be able to have our 23-24 schedule out, which would include some of our new expansions across the U.S. So how that goes. I keep looking at the calendar because it's kind of hovering over my head over here, and I'm thinking about all this as we're talking about it. But we're in crunch time, big time. Hunter, we're getting everything ready to go. All our courses set, everything designed, foam fixed. Everything for the mountain. All my different crews that do all the different stuff are all really getting. It's crunch time. The last 8 weeks, it goes by really fast, and so a lot of organization there for everybody to, all this stuff that we kind of have in the cloud, everything we're working on has to kind of come into reality, and it has to be presented and be able to work. And so a lot of innocent stuff that we do all the time. This isn't something that we just do in the summer. This takes dedication year round to grow what we're about and what we're building. So that's kind of what's up with me right now. I mean, that's kind of it in a nutshell. I mean, I could get really specific, but we're all things are coming into alignment in the next 8 weeks. All the things we've been working on for 8 months. Yeah. And it's pretty exciting, man. I'm pretty stoked, to be honest.
For sure.
I'm excited to go out and have a good year with maybe more of this country back to normal. And, it's just a little better feel, I hope. We'll see. But that's the mission.
Cool, man. Hopefully it'll clear up, but I feel like the internet's having a little issue. If it stays bad, I may have you switch off your video to see if that'll help. But Um, so you mentioned you were just in Pennsylvania, and so I haven't been able to make it to Mountain Archery Fest, but I went to my first TAC last year because I'm over here on the East Coast, and they had one in Pennsylvania. Are you guys thinking about doing one this year on the East Coast?
Not this year. No, we set our 5 for the year, and we're going to stick to that. Current climate, fuel, just different things. We weren't sure if this was a good year to go ahead and drop the hammer and expand. We
Yeah.
had to kind of that a little bit and kind of reevaluate that at some. And so we decided to pick up a couple new venues in the West, a couple things we've been working on, and just kind of hunker down out here. Hunker down. We're going to be in, all over the Rocky Mountains of the United States, but we're definitely going to kind of stick to what we've got and what we know, and just do a really good job and try to crank out a really good bottom line and make things work. So that way we can make a good go of it next year when it's time to make that jump. But I'm committing to making an expansion. So
Nice.
Pennsylvania's way up there. So with TAC being up in Vermont and also in Pennsylvania, there's room in Maine, there's room in Eastern Pennsylvania, I feel. There's a lot of shooters there. There's a lot going on up there. So I hope we can get up into Pennsylvania next year. I'll be honest. I'm not sure if it'll be next year. I have a great opportunity up there, a great location, and it's well worth deadheading up there for. But we got to fit in the calendar. And that's the hard part. Location, calendar, right? It's just, that's the game. So,
dude, have you looked at the western part of Virginia? Because there's nothing here right now, and it's kind of like right dead smack in the middle of the East Coast. I don't know. And there's some good ski resorts too.
Yeah, no, there's definitely some stuff I've looked at in West Virginia and in Virginia. There's just I just haven't got the connection point done yet.
Gotcha.
We've got some great locations through Texas, Arkansas, Alabama. I got a hot spot in Florida that I'm checking out. I've got a couple pieces in West Virginia I'm thinking about. Then Pennsylvania, Maine. I'm kind of missing a connection point, Michigan, Illinois area, but I've got an opportunity maybe close right there, bottom of Wisconsin. So there's, I've got what's crazy is I have about 7 more locations really that I could contract at any given point.
Yeah.
We are talking to each other. We are under limited contracts with talking to each other so that I can make sure no one in my arena jumps in there. At some of these places as we work out things for the next few years, but dude, we'll see. We'll see how it all comes.
Sounds like you got a lot of stuff working.
I got a lot of things in the air when it comes to where we're going and how we're going to expand. Like next year, I don't know if I'm going to do a southern run. Add another 5 events in a southern run maybe. And in 24, add the top side to add the north side. Mm-hmm. Basically Midwest all the way over into Maine, Pennsylvania, and then and have a couple of zigzags that I can build in between, because there's different ways that we can expand and different ways we got to be fluid as we do this, and not oversaturate, but definitely find where we fit in the market with the size events we want and the style of events that we want. That's just kind of where we're at, man. I really do that we have an opportunity to come to, more your direction. We're working on it. So
well, if so, I'll definitely be there, man. But like I said, I've been to one of these big shoots before, and man, like it's a shoot, it's a hangout, kind of a festival. It's almost like a mini little trade show too, with how many vendors are there and stuff. So I can imagine this is like a logistical, I don't want to say nightmare, but very challenging logistically, not to mention just setting up these crazy courses. So like, what is that kind of whole thing like?
Well, I'll tell you, man, it is. You can look at it like a nightmare. You can look at it like a lot of things, right? But, we just try to see the opportunity to be creative and to, overcome obstacles and to work together. I'm very fortunate that within, within what we do look like you said, I mean, we've got tons of foam, lots of different ranges of courses you can shoot. We try to have a little bit for everybody, because we want to be really complete. And what makes us the most complete 3D event is really the people, right? I mean, we can be great hosts, and we can throw a great party, and we can put people in front of you, and we can give you seminars, and we can do all this stuff for you. But really, it's not a complete archery event until you all show up, right? So, it's interesting at times because every location's different. So every build out's a little bit different. Nothing's cookie cutter. And so when it comes to these courses and laying courses and doing different things like that, it takes a certain eye for the country and the topography, and I'm blessed with some of that. I'm not perfect at it. I've got a great mountain team that works with me. I've taught them everything I know at this point, and, they're doing their very best to add what they know. And, we're always inputting volunteers, and we're always inputting new blood and as we grow. And so that helps us stay focused and helps us stay,
for sure,
organized and doing a good job. But I can tell you, I mean, there's some mountains, man, we go to, it's like, you're drilling to set rebar, and then some mountains piece of cake, and some mountains aren't. Every mountain accepts rebar and accepts us differently, right? I mean, I always used to tell people, be careful, challenge a mountain, because it'll challenge you back.
For sure. In more ways than one. So like, I guess what led you to start Mountain Archery Fest, and kind of like maybe what sets it apart? What makes it different from some of the other shoots that are out there?
Well, it started due to wanting to do things differently than what's already out there, right? So, I mean, I had an opportunity to be at a few different events in my life, and I just always kind of noticed at some of these bigger events and certain ones, there was no family, there was no women, there was, all extensive long shots. It was all, just not what I liked about archery. I mean, did I have fun hanging out with the boys and going and doing it and doing, yeah, absolutely. But my heart was in my family. And so, I've been to a few shoots, and, me and a buddy had come back here and thought about Purgatory Mountain, how, no one was doing a big shoot in Colorado. So, we went to TAC and was like, maybe you should come down here. And he's like, oh, we're looking at places, and it just didn't really turn into nothing, so to speak. And so anyway, in the interim, I was doing a lot of train to hunt events, and I was got to know Kenton, and I know Phil Mendoza, Alpha Bow Hunting. And, I just was in this kind of hunter athlete space, if you will. Right. And I was competitions to Pope and Young conventions as well. And just really trying to get people more outdoors and energized. It kind of was a part of, even when I was podcasting with Wilderness Attitude, it was just trying to get people outside.
Yeah.
And so then my name kind of got known a little bit in this space for some reason. I'm not sure why, but long story short, an acquaintance reached out to me and said, hey, I want to do this thing, and this is kind of what I want it to look like. And, are you interested in doing a shoot like this and being a mountain manager and doing all this, comp stuff and laying these courses and running all that? And I was like, sure, I'll entertain the idea. And long story short, entertain the idea. This gentleman had some situations he had to take care of at home with himself. And he had to, do the right thing, save his marriage, do some things on his own health, and get himself right. And in the interim of that, I basically assumed what we know as Mountain Archery Fest.
Okay.
I had shaken hands. I had about $60,000 worth of targets out in the ocean. I had, it was all in a handshake. due to relationships of people who I've met through my podcast. And, my handshake, my word means something.
Mm-hmm.
And so anyway, long story short, I'm in this situation. I go to my family and I'm like, so about this whole Mountain Archery Fest thing, my partner's out. We have these targets coming. He's set these dates. We're selling registrations. We're doing all these things, and I think I got to do this. Like I feel called to finish this deal, and it was always kind of in the back of my heart and my mind anyway. It was back there long before Gary reached out to me, and so, man, it was all or nothing, bro. I mean, it was like I had to get it on, and I think my family supported me, and it all worked out. I mean, surely there could have been alternative things, right? I could have bowed out. I could have got those targets here. I could have made a ripple in the industry. I could have maybe still acquired them and sold them maybe, and, tried to pay my debt or something. But, man, I was called with my family to go make it happen. And,
cool.
And so that's how we came about. That's kind of where we're, and we're going into our 4th year. My families, we're all still gung ho and in it, and and it's turning into something pretty cool, pretty special.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And that's one thing that I love. That's kind of cool about this industry is, like you were saying, like your handshake meant something, and it's very it's a cool community in this industry. I mean, I feel like just me starting out this podcast, like, some, like, when I was just starting out, and some, really big name guys would take time to make time for me, even though, like, just nobody, I'm still nobody, but I mean, what I'm saying, like, they would kind of make time for me. And so it's been really cool to experience that. And I don't know, did you have any, what were some of those challenges early on that you kind of had to work through as an entrepreneur, that were kind of felt a little scary at the time?
Well, recapping a little bit about, having all that money on the ocean and coming over here, and, and then, in business partnerships, that was very difficult for me coming out of that situation. There was a lot of things that were said that were taken care of that weren't. There was a lot of different things that created a lot of adversity for me. This put a lot of strain on me, my family, my marriage, to be honest, because, I was running a trucking company already with, 5 trucks, a bunch of employees, and, and that was a crazy thing that I was trying to pull off too, continue to do while doing this Mountain Archery Fest deal. And I think, those challenges created opportunity. And those opportunities created friendships and people around me that are good at what they do. And I've surrounded myself with a great team of people. I am surely one to recognize and be humble enough to know that I don't know everything. I'll surely act like I do at times, but we all know we don't. And, but surrounding yourself with key people that see your vision and see what you want to accomplish is a key focus that you should always be trying to work on, because you will never achieve greatness by yourself, ever. I just don't think it's possible. I mean, surely no one who's ever achieved greatness has ever stood there and said, I did this.
Right.
Maybe God is probably the only one that can say, did this.
Right.
Here you go. Right. But outside of him, I don't think anybody can do that. So, I think in those challenges, those challenges created those other opportunities, like I mentioned, that create even courses and other things that now set us apart from other shoots and from TAC or anybody else. And that's, those relationships, those ideas, our relationships got stronger. Like my relationship with Philip Kirsch, with Kirsch Targets, and George Vanderhoff, who they are the ones that kind of helped me design this Pope and Young course. I had this idea, I had this vision, I had this this thing, but I wasn't sure how to achieve it, you know? And so one day I just spit it out to Philip, and Philip was like, you know, that's a good idea, you know? And he's like, I'm going to think about that, you know? And then calls me back and says, I got this guy, George, man. I think we need to talk to him. All right. So the three of us started brainstorming, you know, about some things we could do. And next thing you know, the Pope and Young course came to life, man. The 29 replicas of the world records held by Pope and Young, engineered and mounted on foam, you know, that would have never happened without the friendship of, you know, I had to call Philip and tell him, Philip, my partner's out. I don't have contracts with these dates like he said. I don't have money like he said. I don't this, I don't that. Like, I had to be very honest and very transparent with him as a businessman. You know, this is where I'm at and this is what I'm going to do. And he was like, whoa, you know, okay. Wow. I mean, he didn't know what to say, right? But he gave a little time and I said, man, I'll make this work. You just get those targets on the ground, man.
Nice.
You get them in my hands. I'll make this work some way, somehow. And we did. And he believed it. You know, and those relationships create a lot of cool things. And when you can trust other people in business and you can do those things, you know, I wasn't real trustworthy in business at that point. There was a lot of good stuff going on. I mean, I was making things right. I was doing my very best, but people weren't doubting I don't think they were doubting me or my trustfulness or, you know, or my worthiness or however you want to put that. But, you know, but you still got to have concern. You still got to be looking at my situation and have some concern. You know, I mean,
you mean the situation of like losing your partner and just kind of having to start almost kind of from scratch on your own?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And, you know, and pull some dates off the table and regroup and find new locations. I mean, it was like a complete, you know, we had to do a lot of turnaround in that position, right? And so, you know, there's a lot of challenges, you know, challenges they've been different every year. Man, our first year was getting it going, right? Then it was epic snowfall. Like, we got the targets, we got everything in place. I got it all going. I got some sponsors. I got it all, you know, I saved it from the nosedive, right? And then we got epic snow, had to move everything around. Then next year, boom, COVID. Then boom, still COVID. Now I can't even get targets because I can't even get stuff shipped here. You know, it's like, you know, it's all, every year has had its own battle, you know, that everybody in the world's going through, basically. I mean, we all have some of the same issues. Just cliche to our own little niche. That's all, you know?
Yeah. And I love what you said about the collaboration thing, because sometimes I feel like it's easy for entrepreneurial types, you know, to kind of want to do everything on your own, just because some of us have that personality of like, well, if I don't do it, it's not going to get done right, and that kind of thing. But I recognized myself very early on this journey, that like, man, like I'm going to need some, you know, some help, some mentorship, some people to work with, just the nature of what I do and creating films and stuff. It's like, you know, you can only do so much completely solo unless you're just like a freak like Remy Warren or something. But, which even then, I mean, he worked with Tim Burnett, you know, so I've been really, and I've been really blessed to link up with some really cool guys, you know, through this short journey I've been on. But, tell people just a little bit, just going back a little bit, like you mentioned the Pope and Young course, but I think that's something that's kind of cool and unique to Mountain Archery Fest that you kind of glossed over, but maybe just give people a real quick explanation of what that is.
So the Pope and Young course is a course with 29 targets, and then there's a North American 29 Slam. And so these are the world records held by Pope and Young. We recreated the antlers, the horns, and they're on the course. They're on these animals. There's great storyboards to go along with this course about conservation, ethics, you know, record keeping, the maturity of these animals, the status, health of these animals. I mean, there's a lot involved in that short little instructional sign there next to each target. And so it's a beginner course, 52 yards or less. I mean, it's a testament to the quality of hunters. I mean, think about that. These are world record animals. These are the best representations that have been shot by a bow and arrow that have been recorded. Now, there could be bigger out there, surely, maybe better. That's not the point. The point is these animals are what we see right now as a mature specimen in the book of records for Pope and Young.
Mm-hmm.
This is the guy. Like, these are the studs. And so the cool part about shooting this course is you get to see what that looks like in real life. Like, and to see what a mature animal looks like. And because there's sometimes people get their hopes up more than they should, or they'll say, oh, well, I got to get this big a buck or this big. And it's like, take a look around. I mean, the world records they're not gigantic, but they are great specimens of mature animals. And so, so it's a really cool course, fun for the whole family. It's kind of a beginner course. We usually lay that easier on the mountain to make it just really accessible.
Yeah.
Something else that's new to us this year is the track action mobility course. And that we're creating one of the first adaptive courses that will be fully accessible with a track action chair through the whole thing, all the target, all the way back through the woods. We're going to have chairs at each location. If you don't own one, you want to try one out, you want to come check, learn how to shoot out of one or something, you just got to come up, reserve a time. We have X amount of chairs for X amount of people. So you just got to get signed up for that.
Nice.
And do what we're doing. I mean, if you don't need a chair, then we've got an adaptive course for you to come and shoot. It's just a really welcoming course that we want people to come and have fun and feel fully inclusive.
Yeah.
We don't, and not necessarily something that's just for them. I mean, this is a kids course. It's an adaptive course. It'll even cross over to a competitive course on Saturday. So it's like, it's not just some easy trail deal.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool. I have a chair for the whole summer, man, to go build these with. And I can't wait to go get on these things and see what they're capable of. I mean, I see these guys trying them out, and men and women who have received them and how it's changed their lives, man.
Yeah.
And it's as cool as could be. And so I decided with that, I'm going to give one away.
Oh, cool.
Give a chair away, all customed out, nice chair, a hunt to go with it.
Nice.
I got some great people down in God's country for our heroes, man. They're going to take us out in New Mexico, and we got a bunch of gear to give to someone. So that'll be a cool thing we're going to launch here soon. People have to look out for it. We're going to launch it here pretty quick, where you can nominate somebody. You can nominate yourself if you need it. You do a submission for that, and we'll go through, and we have a whole panel. They'll go through and oversee all these entries. And bless you, sir.
Excuse me.
And then they'll be able to, and we'll whittle it down, and we'll find someone to give this thing away to at the end of the summer.
Nice, man.
That'll be really cool, man. We're excited about that.
Yeah, that's really cool. I think that's one of the things that that I've heard that stands out about Mountain Archery Fest is just like you're saying, the inclusiveness, not only to like this thing you're just talking about, but also to, the whole family, different styles of archery, trad guys, then you got, so I feel like some people are intimidated, like, oh, if I go to one of these 3D shoots, I got to be like, Western hunting ready and making like 120 yard shots and stuff like that. But no, there's courses for everybody, different skill levels, different equipment, different ages and stuff like that. And so that's really cool. So I do, though, want to dig in a little bit to kind of your personal background, because I feel like, so for people who don't know me, myself, I am in recovery. I came from a history of addiction and just years of craziness and wild living. And so, and I don't know specifically about you, but I feel like you had a little bit of a past, which is interesting for me, because now I know like you're a successful businessman, you got your stuff together, you're a family man, you got, was it 9 kids? Is that right?
That's correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I'd love to just hear a little bit about your personal story, just in life, and how you came from where you were, wherever that was, and to where you are now, which is kind of running a couple companies, doing something that you're passionate about, and hunting, and being a family man.
Uh, you know, my journey's not super special or different than most people. I grew up urban Denver with parents that both worked very hard. They divorced when I was 6. I grew up, with a dad every other weekend kind of style. Had a couple of great stepdads, although volatile in their own sense. Stepbrothers, stepsisters that were much older, so not a whole lot of relationship there. I was still, even though I had some of them, I was kind of an only child.
Mm-hmm.
Although when my mom married my last stepfather, he had a couple kids that were younger than me. But again, just young enough that I didn't really hang out with them either. And it was kind of like I flipped roles. And so anyway, long story short, my family life was always kind of turbulent to some degree, unsettled. I wouldn't say it was bad. I was always fed. I was always clothed. I always had a place to be, and there's no craziness like that. I grew up with parents that smoked and drank a lot, and were very social. I grew up basically in a bar, for the most part, and or fishing some. I was in Boy Scouts. I had a pretty, diversified living. With my mom and my stepdad, they had a little bit more money, and so we went fishing. We had a boat. We went and did things and camping and some things like that. And my dad, he lived in an apartment, and so we were at every Broncos game. He had season tickets, and we camped down there and at the stadium, and and he was in bars a lot. Even my stepdad played in a dart league and a pool league, and it was just kind of the times. I think really social stuff was in the late 70s, was in early 80s, was just happening in bars, really. And so that's where I grew up and kind of lived. And so I saw a lot of crazy stuff in my life, even like in the south stands of the Broncos, like we'd stay there overnight, and dude, it was a free for all. It was private property, and it was like all them campers surrounded down there. It was crazy. I saw a lot of things and experienced a lot of stuff at a very young age, which just led me into just always needing a little bit more of whatever,
Yeah.
And so I was pretty decent in school until I got a car, and then it was over. Dude, I was full on head banging. I was, I just was partying, man. It was the 80s, man. It was drugs, rock and roll, and fast cars and women, and that's all that mattered, man. It was just full throttle everywhere.
Yeah.
And so that run went for a little while. I lost one of my best friends. A couple of people have died in my life. They're very close to me. And I lived a little bit of a hellion biker lifestyle, and a lot of things happen in that world when you're in that world. And then you add Mexican mafia to it, and you add money, and you add a lot of dope, and you just start running pretty fast and loose, and so, even married, I had a successful careers during all this stuff as a chef. Like no one knew what I did on the weekends, man. No one knew what I did in the middle of the night. No one had a clue. Some knew me, some knew me. Right. But,
living that double life, man, it taxes you.
Oh, it's brutal, man.
I heard someone mention one time, I was actually in a meeting one time, this old lady said, having a secret is like holding a cup of water out straight with your arm. Like, it's really easy at first, but after like an hour or two, that thing starts to weigh like 1,000 pounds. A couple days and your arm's falling off.
Right. Yeah, it's good. I like it. But yeah, it's, it just finally caught up to me, man. I finally got popped by the law a couple times, man. I got lucky a couple times. I mean, I was facing 12 years once, got out of it due to some dirty cops.
Ooh.
Then I was looking at another 9 years later and got out of it because I honestly feel that I was ready to make a change in my life at that point. And, I hit some pretty hard lows when I was locked up that last time. And, my life had to change at that point, right then and there. And, I had to look to God, and I had to look to my family, and I had to look, to a much higher power to help me just find some direction. Once look, I'm a strong guy, like in the sense of I want to do it, I'll do it. Like I just needed a little direction. I needed to get cleaned up, and I just needed a little direction, and just a little shove, right? And I found those things in God and my family and my friend, some of my friends. I had to dude,
Cut some ties.
Dude, my circle got real small real quick.
Oh yeah.
And it works itself out because they don't want to see you either, because
Right.
you're in jail. Like, they don't know what you said or who are, so anyway, long story short, just kind of went through those cycles. And I was a chef for a long time, which I think is, restaurant industry, service industry is extremely abusive. It's very hard to clean or straight, or it's just a crazy world to be in.
So did you get cleaned up while you were like in jail, or did you have to go to treatment, or did you kind of do it yourself, or how'd that go down?
Yeah, I was in there long enough that it was, I cleaned up inside. And
Yeah. Were you doing meetings and stuff when you got out, or did you never get into that scene?
I did do some. Let's talk about that a little bit. So I did some, but I'll be honest with you, it was kind of funny. When I got transferred back home on Interstate Compact, and I was back here, and I was on parole and whatnot, and I had to go check in with my parole officer. Well, I was already back, and they had a little bit of some change over there. So I'd been back for about 3 months and still had a probation officer. And I was already doing my volunteer work, doing football volunteer work. I was already doing I was already integrated, doing what I was doing, because that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to do what I was doing. But I'll tell you, when I was inside, it was a lot of prayer at night, a lot of reading, no meetings inside. That was not offered for us at that point. I was in an A block. I wasn't allowed that opportunity. They put me in with murderers and rapists and everything for, the first days, and didn't touch me. They were evaluating me. And then, when I hit my second 30, things got a little bit better and a little bit looser to some degree, but I still wasn't allowed out. Like, I wasn't in a position yet within my stay to be allowed to do those things. So I just had night sweats and took care of myself. And, and it was rough. It was what it was. And, and then when I came out, when I ended up getting out of there, I just checked myself into an outpatient program just to keep myself on the right. But I can tell you a funny story about meeting my PO officer the first time. And we're still friends today. We're still friends.
That's funny.
So I go walking in his office, and he's all trying to pull a fast one on me. Basically, he's saying, I don't know about this whole marijuana thing. I think the rules are too strict. I think this, I think that, and all this stuff and blah, blah, blah. And he's, and I'm just looking at him like, who are you to be telling me this shit, man? I mean, I was getting mad. Like, I got mad. I was like, this is why you're my probation officer. I don't need you to be my probation or my parole officer. I need someone like this that's on my side here.
Right.
Like someone my way. Like, I want to quit. I'm walking away. I want nothing to do with it. I'm out. There's no gray area here for me.
Right.
And I walked out of his office. I told him, I said, you know what? I don't think you're fit to be a probation officer.
Wow.
I don't think you can be my probation officer at least. So you guys better find me a new probation officer. And I walked out the office and walked into the alley, and cops came and got me and brought me back in. And he sat me down, looked at me, and he said, good job. you passed.
Wow.
I was mad at him. I was like, you're an asshole. I said, that's bullshit. I said, this is how we're going to start our relationship. I mean, I was really mad. And that is how we started our relationship. And we had a great relationship because, because that, and so to fast forward a little bit, I'll be honest with you, Hunter, when I went to meetings, I would leave meetings worse than when I went in.
Yeah.
I would be out there thinking to myself, these people are in there and they poor woesy me, man. Like no one in there was stepping up and saying, I did this and I'm facing it and I'm going to do this and I'm going to change my life and I'm not looking back. And it's every time I went in there, it was just like,
yeah.
Oh my Lord, I had to get out of there. I couldn't stay. And so I went back to my parole officer and I said, dude, I'll do anything but go back to NA or AA meetings.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't work for me. Now I'm fully support people that want to go. I've hauled people in. I've taken some of my best friends in. Trust me, I'll dump them on the doorstep of a meeting in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
But me, I couldn't handle it. Like it was depressing to me.
Yeah.
Like it made me start thinking like,
yeah,
I'm depressed. Like I'm in this cycle. I can't get out. I can't, and
some of those meetings are like that. And so I did a lot of meetings at first. I don't do meetings anymore. But it was good for me in the beginning. Like you said, some people, like my grandmother, she was in AA. She was in AA, she was sober 40, 50 years or something and was very active in AA. I did both. I think NA for me was a little bit more kind of like you're talking about, a little more pity party. I felt a little more positivity and spirituality in AA personally, but so not knocking it for people. I think it's a great place to start, but I don't go to them anymore. But anyway,
I think some of the biggest tools for me was, really, I had to learn who I was again. I mean, I'd been kayak for 15, 16 years. I mean, from 14, 15 years old till 30 years old, I didn't know how to deal with the world. I didn't know how to do crap.
Yeah. You're just constantly medicating and piling, numbing yourself.
And so I had to figure out a lot of that. And so I think, actually going in and working with a coach or a therapist or somebody you can talk to a little bit, someone with some direction, someone just to kind of like,
sure,
just to speak out to, that has no skin in the game is probably what did me the best. And then just having a solid, support system, and then, my wife and then as we integrated into having a mine, yours, ours, and theirs family, man, it was all meant to be. When I was in jail, I had an Indian. He got rolled up in the middle of the night, and I had this Indian. He walked around and gave everybody commissary, and then he walked by me, and he didn't give me nothing. He gave everybody in that pod something but me. But he walked up to me and he said, "You're gonna grow to be a leader of men. You're gonna grow to be, a great businessman and a leader in your community and a great father." Dude, when he whispered that in my ear, I thought, "You're crazy, bro. I got 9 years. I'm going to prison for 9 years."
Dang, I didn't know that's how long your sentence was. I didn't catch that.
None of what you just said to me is going to happen. Okay? It's not. And I went to trial and I was given 3 years parole, no years in. I was given all sorts of opportunity. And, it was 9 years after that I was sitting out here in my pasture and I'm listening to my kids play on the trampoline and raising hell, and I got trucks coming back in from working, and I'm hiring not perfect men. I'm hiring men because they want to be there because, I have something to offer, I think, and then I'm coaching, I'm helping coach. And, I felt like in that moment that angel was right.
Yeah, man. Yeah. He had like a prophetic word for you.
Yeah. And so, and here I sit, you know, just a humble man that just wants to be the best he can be each day, you know, and I just want to provide smiles for people. And I want to do that creatively through archery. And, you know, I'm blessed with my children. They're all great. You know, I've adopted a couple. My oldest and youngest are adopted. You know, I just can't tell you, man, you know, that he was right.
That's awesome, man. And how
I,
cool. Yeah. Yeah. And how cool is that
yeah,
when someone speaks into your life like that, and I'm sure now you've had opportunities to speak in other people's life like that. And you know, I've heard it said before that like prophecy is when you call things that be not as though they are. And so, you know, it's kind of like seeing the best in someone, seeing what they could be, seeing what God sees in them, and calling that out, like that guy did for you, really. Like, and he was on point, you know. And even if it doesn't look like that at the time, like no matter how dark your situation can be, man, it's like if you get on the right path and you get God on, and you get on, you know, get God on your side and have that support, you can make it.
yeah, yeah, you can do anything, man. And I think that, you know, there's just a lot to be said for forgiving yourself and realizing that, you know, that all of your quirks and inadequacies are your strengths. Period.
Yeah.
Sooner, I'm telling you, the more I learn this and the more it works for me, the more I have to say it, that it's just one of those things where you really got to pay attention to those things, because, you know, a lot of people told me all my life I talk too much. People told me all my life that I'm loud. You know, people told me all my life that I got, you know, too much go sometimes, you know, and people think I'm kind of quirky and weird, because I mean, I think of weird things. I'm a Pisces. I'm real creative. I'm very open-minded, you know, and so I just got a lot of weirdness wrapped up in this whole thing here. Kind of shit show, if you will. But what I can tell you is that, you know, I love being in front of people. I love using my creativity now, like I used to as a chef. Now I do it in creating courses and creating new ideas and doing some different things. And I love empowering my crew around me. I love empowering my children. I love failing in front of them. I love succeeding in front of them. I love how they react when both happen to me.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm just really happy that I was given that opportunity at one point, right, to, you know, to make that change, you know, and that's, you know, those things come across your plate every now and then, and you gotta be aware. You gotta be, you know, and sometimes, like you say, it's serendipity, timing, whatever, you know, some of those things, you know, it all means something. It all has energy. It all connects in this world, in this universe. And, you know, and I just really think that, and I feel very strongly about, you know, people staying in their lane and doing what's right for them, you know, but don't hurt yourself and don't hurt people around you, you know, while you're in the process, you know.
Yeah.
And look, in our past all means something. But I think the biggest thing to remember about past is that, you know, your past can still be a part of your life, as long as you don't let it control the moment you're in. And where you want to go.
For sure.
If the past is affecting your moment and where you're heading, then, you know, then you really got to question those situations. What is it?
Yeah.
What is it? You know? And for me, I just, you know, it's easy. I think when you can accept yourself, then you begin to be more of an open book. You know, you begin to be more transparent and a little bit more giving, but at the same time a little bit more firm, if you will.
Yeah.
Rude. People say you are sometimes. It's like, well, no, I'm just at that point where what are you saying? Like, I don't. What you're
Stand
saying,
your ground.
I'm just gonna tell you that right now. Like, I almost have no censorship anymore. You know.
Yeah.
I wonder what I'm gonna be like you know, when I'm actually an old man.
Yeah. It's funny. Yeah, I love what you said about, you know, looking at your quirks and maybe your quote unquote inadequacies as assets. And I have those thoughts a lot because, I'm kind of, I'm pretty new to this like world of like Western hunting. So I've been hunting my whole life, but Western hunting is a different game. And, a lot of times I might start to get down on myself like, oh, who am I? I don't know anything. But like, then I'm like, no, this is good. Like I can learn in real time. People can learn with me. I can, approach things from out of the box that maybe, guys born out West don't think about. I just try to look at all those things as an asset and not a liability. And I also love what you said about, creativity, because creativity is such a huge part of being an entrepreneur, that figuring out how to solve problems in a creative way and different things like that. And I feel like people may not look at it that way, but I like to just tying this back into kind of archery and hunting and the outdoors. Like, how was archery and or hunting part of your story, and maybe coming full circle in your life, and kind of actualizing, as some people might say?
So it's a huge shift for me. Even though I got it clean and whatnot, I mean, I still owned a few Harleys. I still ripped around, I used to tell people that the only time the world turned off was when I was riding my Harley or riding my wife. Pretty much when you're a creative mind and you in an entrepreneur and business minded, big braining, it never turns off.
It's true.
It's a blessing and a curse. But I
have like endless notes in my phone, or I'm like laying there in bed at like 11 o'clock. I'm like, oh, and I wake up and just like do this thing and like create this. Like,
I can't do that. If I give any energy to even putting that note in my phone, then it's like I'm ready to write a paper.
I luckily can write that note and then like forget it and go to sleep. But
I can't go back to sleep. That's the problem. But I think that I think coming out of that space and always wanting to turn triple digits on a Harley all the time was not a real safe place for me to be. Mm-hmm. And so I had a friend. We bought this property where I live now, and we had some amazing bucks here, and no one was here for a long time. The place sat for quite a while. So they kind of took over. Well, I had a guy who I knew at the barbershop who I'd known most of my life. I've known of him, this and that, and he drew this unit. Well, this unit's only like 10% public. Like it's the sucky unit to get. Let's just say, if you don't know what you're up to.
Yeah.
And so he ended up getting it. He was in Bodo trying to hunt. He's nothing. I said, dude, I got deer in my house. Come out. So he came out and shot a slammer. And then he's like, hey, you ever shoot a bow? I'm like, yeah, back in Boy Scouts, So anyway, he gets his bow out, and I grabbed that thing, and man, it was fit me perfect. Man, I started shooting that thing, and like in the beginning, I'm like totally listening to Thomas, what he's saying to me and everything, and then pretty soon, like he's talking, and he's gone. Like I'm just shooting that bow, man. Like he's talking, and I don't hear nothing.
Just in the zone.
And I remember just looking at him and going, wow, that was cool. Like I got there. Like I got away. There, whatever you want to call it, right? I was in a place like I described before, where the world just shut off, and I just, holy crap,
like a flow state.
Like I was like, the world just shut off, and I was just totally in the zone. And Thomas was over there, blah, 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 blah. I was focusing on that pin, man. I was pushing and pulling, like I was all in it, and that was it. That was it, man. From there, I bought a bow the next week. Bought a new bow in a month, another new bow in a month, another new. And I was just, I was buying used bows. I was kind of way up. I wasn't going out and buying a brand new flagship bow right out of the gate.
Sure.
I bought a couple cheesy bows and whatever, beginner bows. I shouldn't call them cheesy. They're just what they were for me. And I just got after it, man. And next thing I knew, I started meeting all these people and man, I had this whole new friends, right? I had this whole new group. I had this whole new commitment to doing something really cool. And then I decided I was going to go hunting.
Mm.
And that's when I realized that the old vessel wasn't as strong as the mind. I got myself in a real bad spot on a mountain.
Ooh.
Barely got my own self out without making the call. And that's when I found Train to Hunt. That's when I, and all that. And that's when I got myself back in shape. I mean, I was just, I was a chef for a long time and then a trucker. When I got cleaned up, I became a trucker and local trucker. And so I just got heavy, man. I just riding around in circles. And,
Yeah.
and so, man, I can tell you that what bow hunting and what Thomas did to me that day, was awesome.
Life-changing.
Life-changing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's so, I mean, I feel like if someone were to come to this that were a non-hunter and be like, I feel like on the surface level, they might be like really amazed by like, why are you guys so into hunting? Like, cause they have their own perceptions of what hunting is based on like Hollywood or whatever. But like when you're doing something that's tapping into something that's such an ancient, like primal thing, like part of your DNA as a human and as a man, and then also you're tying in a reason to get out there and to get in shape and spend time in green spaces and get sunlight and fresh air and just, friendship, fun, all this like stacking benefits that just most people don't get to experience on that level. It's really is a life-changing thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think to myself, there's still people in this world that have never been out of a concrete jungle. Like they've never ever put their feet in like original dirt. I mean, maybe trans dirt or potting soil or something like that, but not like dirt that's been there forever.
Yeah.
Right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I mean, it blows me away to think that, Hunter, I mean, it's crazy. But if people would give some of that some space in their life and connect again, it would be a much different reality in this world, I think.
For sure.
So in the meta, they're not connected anymore to what has given them their source of life to begin with. And that's very unfortunate.
Totally. Well, that's cool, man. Like I love hearing that and coming full circle with how, hunting, and it started out with archery, I guess, is really what kind of got you into the hunting world. And now you're doing Mountain Archery Fest. And, that's awesome, man. So, I got to ask, I see the initial Ascent sweatshirt. So I just did a podcast with Joe and Dennis the other day. Are you rocking one of their packs?
Oh yeah, dude. I'm one of their originals.
Nice.
I was their first podcast.
Oh, nice.
Wilderness Attitude was their very first one.
Nice.
And we've been brothers ever since.
Cool.
They are my friends and my brothers first, and then they're my business partners second.
Oh, okay.
Because I mean, I don't own any part of it. We're business partners because we help each other.
Nice.
We rise all tides in this family, and Dennis and his family and Joe and his family, man, there's no two better men that I've met in this industry than that pair right there. I mean,
they're great dudes. Yeah. I got a chance to meet them at the expo, and then we kind of linked up and got along, and then like I said, I did a podcast with them the other day, which isn't released yet, but will be soon. And they're sending me a pack out to try out, so hopefully I'm going to get it before bear season so I can give it a shot, because I tried on their frame at the expo and I was like blown away by how that thing carried weight. And so anyway, they're going to send me one. Hopefully I get it before bear season. I'm going to do a review on it and talk about it a little bit. But they're awesome dudes.
Yeah, I can tell you that I own 4 of them, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. Anybody that hunts with me pretty much uses one because everybody loves them, and I got different waist belts and different stuff. I mean, I've always had a pack that it's a loaner pack. I've sold tons of packs for them because, I got friends around here. They're like, I want to try one. I'm like, well, here you go. What size are you? Here's your belt. Deal. Here, I'll set it up for you. I'll get you set in it. Now go use it. And 9 out of 10 people buy one if they use it
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
As soon as I tried that thing on, and I thought they asked me what it was, and I thought it was 35 pounds, and then it turns out it was 65. I was like, okay, this is legit.
yeah, no, it's fast. It's a good ride, man. It rides you like a Cadillac.
Yeah.
Uh, I think
So,
it's the best pack. I'm known as a pack whore, and I can tell you that IA is the best pack I've ever had in my life, and I'll never. There's nothing. I always try new stuff, and I tell
yeah.
Dennis, I always try new things, but I love their pack. It's all I wear.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting my hands and trying one. But anyway, man, I'm gonna let you go. But before I do, tell folks where they can find out more about Mountain Archery Fest and y'all's dates and get signed up for an event.
Yeah, I mean, quickest place to find us is on the IG, man. Mountain Archery Fest. Pretty simple, straightforward right there. You can always check us out, our website, mountainarcheryfest.com. That's the best. Go there to register. All the sites are there. We have 5 locations this year, starting Memorial Weekend and ending July 22nd to the 24th. We got 2 in Montana, 1 in Colorado, 1 in Wyoming. Did I say Colorado?
I think so, yeah.
Colorado, 2 Utah, Wyoming, Montana. There you go.
And coming soon to the East Coast.
Yeah, soon. Yeah, dude, it's really cool. I'm excited about it. And
yeah.
We're on Facebook as well. If you care to follow me, you can follow me at Brandon Waddell _. You can get a little bit more on my personal side, more on my business founder, CEO side, not just all math work.
Yeah.
Things that I'm working on. So I appreciate you having me on, man, and letting people hear my story and hear about math. And
for sure,
I appreciate everything. All I can tell you is that founder series we did with Heather Kelly was awesome. I enjoyed it to the fullest. The relationships and the opportunities that have come from that are tenfold. So if anybody is interested in that, should look into that, because it's changed a lot of lives, bro. Right? You know that. And so just a huge shout out to Heather, because we wouldn't have without that. And I appreciate you having me on. And as usual, I look forward to seeing you again soon on the mountain this time, I hope.
Yeah, man, for sure. I appreciate your time, and thanks for joining me and sharing a little bit about your story. And yeah, definitely hope I can see you at a Mountain Archery Fest soon or some other event. So thanks again, man.
Well, we'll get you up on the mountain. Just let me know what dates work for you.
Okay, cool. Sounds good.
Right on. All right. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, man.